When you tap your credit card at the store, it looks like money is instantly being transferred, but that's not what's actually happening. That tap is actually a request. It doesn't go to the store, it enters a global financial network, a system made of banks, payment processors, and approval networks, all communicating in real time. A credit card has tiny microprocessor chips that store encrypted keys and generate dynamic transaction codes. It has what is basically a tiny computer that's only job is to ensure authentication. When you insert your card, the terminal supplies electricity to the card to power up and start the process of authentication. It generates a one time code, a cryptogram, which is basically a secret key to authenticate the transaction. We used to use a magnetic stripe on the back of the credit card, but that was extremely easy to steal. It was just static data on the back of the card, so when engineers created the microprocessor, we quickly switched to using that instead. Now, the credit card ran with encryption and information could not be stolen as easily. But inserting the card was slow and annoying, so engineers made it an improvement, creating contactless payment. The system is based on RFID radio technology. RFID is a system where a tiny chip or tag stores an ID and is powered by a nearby reader using radio waves. The tag then sends back its data wirelessly by reflecting the image, without needing a battery or contact. It's like a sleeping ID chip that only wakes up when a scanner shines energy at it, then replies with its identity using reflected radio waves. So the card has done its job. It's generated a secure one time code and sent it to the terminal. But that's only half of the story. Now, the real money movement begins. A credit card transaction happens in three distinct stages: authorization, clearing, and settlement. And none of them happen instantly, despite what it feels like. First is authorization. The merchant's terminal sends your transaction data to what's called an acquirer. That's the merchant's bank or payment processor. The acquirer then routes your request to the card network, Visa, MasterCard, or whatever logo is on your card. The network forwards it to your issuing bank, the bank that gave you the card. Your bank checks three things. Is the card valid? Does the account have enough credit? Is this transaction suspicious? If everything checks out, the bank sends back an approval code. A temporary hold is placed on your funds. Stage 2 is clearing. At the end of the business day, the merchant doesn't settle each transaction individually. Instead, they batch up all the authorizations they've received and send that batch to the acquirer. Then the acquirer forwards the batch to the card network. The network sorts everything out, calculating how much each issuing bank owes the acquiring banks, and routes the transactions to the appropriate issuers for final processing. The issuing bank sends the money to the acquirer, minus interchange fees. The fees the card network and issuing bank charge for processing. The acquirer then deposits the remaining amount into the merchant's account, minus their own processing fees. Most merchants see these funds in their account one business day after the transaction, but in reality, from your tap to the merchant getting paid, it can take up to 48 hours or more. But if it takes that long, why does my account show the purchase immediately? That's the authorization hold. Your bank has set aside that money so you can't spend it twice, but the actual transfer hasn't happened yet. That's why it shows as pending for a day or two. So where does this go next? The technology is already evolving. Tokenization is becoming standard. Instead of sending your actual card number, mobile wallets like Apple Pay generate a randomized token that's unique to your device and the merchant. If that token is intercepted, it's meaningless for any other transaction. Biometrics are also coming to cards. Fingerprint sensors embedded in the plastic itself. The next generation of contactless payments might not even need a PIN for larger transactions. Your fingerprint is your authentication. And the magnetic stripe is already being phased out. MasterCard announced plans to eliminate the stripe entirely by 2033. So the next time you use your card, remember how it works. Remember that there's literally a computer inside and a whole system working behind the scenes.